Look what they did. They sat down with the story, your story, the one you were in from the beginning, the one you helped build scene by scene, the one that had your fingerprints on every chapter even when your name wasn't in the credits. They sat down with it, and they took out a pen, and they drew a line through you. Not a violent line, a quiet one. The kind of erasure that doesn't announce itself. The kind that happens in small rooms with soft voices and careful phrasing. They didn't say we're removing her. They said something about restructuring. They said something about moving forward. They said something about how the story needs to evolve, which is what people say when what they mean is, the story needs to not include you anymore, and we'd like to make that sound like progress. So they drew the line, and they moved on to the next chapter, and the next. And for a while, the story held. For a while, nobody noticed the seam. For a while, the people inside it kept telling themselves it was the same story, just newer, just cleaner, just updated. They told the new people a version that didn't include you. They told it well. They told it with confidence. They told it the way you tell a story you've practiced enough times that you've almost forgotten the original. Almost. Because something started happening. Something quiet and then louder. Something that started as a feeling and became a pattern and became undeniable. The story started losing its logic. Not dramatically, not all at once. A plot line that didn't connect. A motivation that didn't make sense. A character who made a choice that had no origin, no foundation, no prior scene to explain why they would do that, because the prior scene had you in it, and they'd removed the scene when they removed you. And they tried to fill the gap. Of course they did. They patched and revised and added new details and introduced new characters and kept moving forward, the way you move forward when you're trying to outrun the feeling that something is missing. They kept telling the story faster and louder and with more confidence. And the more confidence they performed, the more the holes showed. Because holes don't close under pressure. Holes open. And the faster you run past them, the wider they get behind you. The story stopped making sense without you. Let me tell you specifically how. Because this isn't a metaphor. This is mechanics. This is how narrative actually works and why erasure always fails. Not philosophically, but structurally. The way a building fails when you remove the wrong load-bearing wall. It doesn't announce the failure. It just starts to lean. Here is what you were in the story. You were not a supporting character. That's the misunderstanding they built the erasure on. They thought you were supplementary. They thought your role was atmospheric, that you provided warmth or texture or the kind of background presence that makes a scene feel inhabited but isn't essential to the plot. They thought the story ran on its visible architecture and that you were decoration on the walls. You were the wall. You were the person who remembered. In every group, in every family, in every organization, in every friendship that spans years, there is one person who remembers. Not the official history. The actual one. The one that includes the version of events that's inconvenient for the current narrative. The one that includes the compromise that was made and then pretended didn't happen. The one that includes the things someone said in 2018 that contradicts what they're saying now. The one that includes who was actually in the room when the decision was made, and what the decision was based on, and what it cost, and who paid it. You were that person. You were the archive. And they removed the archive and kept the building, and now the building can't answer basic questions about its own foundation.
You're killing me here, man.
You were the person who translated. Between the people who spoke different languages inside the same room, different emotional languages, different communication styles, different ways of understanding what was happening, you were the one who converted. You took what one person meant and rendered it legible to the person it was aimed at. You caught things in the air before they hit the ground. You managed the friction, not by suppressing it, but by metabolizing it, turning it into something the room could use, instead of something the room had to survive. They don't have a translator anymore, and now the room fills with things nobody catches, things that hit the ground and shatter, and everyone is stepping around the pieces confused about where the glass is coming from. You were the reason certain people stayed. This is the one they'll never admit out loud. There were people in that story, in that family, that group, that company, that circle, who were there because of you, not because they were asked, because you were there, because your presence in a room made the room worth being in, because your specific way of making someone feel seen, which you probably don't even know you do because you've been doing it so long it's just how you operate, was the gravitational center of a solar system that has now lost the sun, and the planets have been drifting, slowly, without drama, just drift, the kind that doesn't announce itself, the kind people attribute to busy schedules and changing priorities, the kind that is actually underneath the explanation.
You got it. What the?
The quiet consequence of a room that no longer has the thing that made it worth staying in. They noticed it at a gathering, not the first one after you left, not even the second. The gatherings without you felt different in a way everyone attributed to other things, to the season, to the mood, to external stress, to the specific combination of who came and who didn't. They generated explanations the way people generate explanations when they don't want to arrive at the obvious one. But by the third gathering, or the fourth, the explanations stopped fitting, because the variable hadn't changed. The missing variable was always the same. The gatherings kept happening. You kept not being there, and the energy of the room kept behaving as if something was wrong with the electrical system, rather than acknowledging that a specific light had been switched off. Someone finally said it, not in those words. Nobody in those rooms says things in their precise words. But someone said something like, "It's just not the same, is it?" And nobody disagreed, and nobody elaborated, and in that silence was the admission they couldn't make directly, that the thing that made it the same was you, that the quality they were trying to recover, the texture they kept reaching for and not finding, had a name. Your name. Here is the thing about erasure that they didn't understand when they planned it. You can remove a person from a story. You can do that. You can cross out their name in the chapter headings and give their contributions to other characters, and tell the new people a version in which that person was never there. You can do all of that. What you cannot do is remove a person from the story they already changed, because the changes are in the story now. The effect of a person is not in their presence. It's in everything their presence altered. It's in the decisions that were made because of them, the directions taken, the conflicts avoided, the growth that happened because of the friction they created, and the comfort they provided, and the specific irreproducible way they occupied their role. All of that is in the story. It's in the bones of it. And you can cross out the name, but you can't uncross the bones. They tried to give your lines to someone else. That's the part that's almost funny. They found someone. Of course they found someone. There's always someone willing to step into a vacated role, especially when the role comes with the title, but not the history, with the position, but not the understanding of why the position exists, with the script, but not the subtext. This person walked in and said the words and performed the function, and everyone agreed, yes, this is the same, we're fine, the role is filled. And for a moment, a short, flat moment, it almost worked. And then the subtext mattered, and the person didn't have it. The subtext is what you build over time. It's the understanding of why a thing is said this way and not that way. It's the knowledge of which silence is comfortable and which one is loaded. It's the ability to walk into a room and feel immediately where the tension lives and who is carrying it and what it would take to move it. The replacement didn't have the subtext because the subtext was yours. It took you years to build it. You built it through attention, through investment, through caring, in ways nobody asked you to care. You cannot onboard a replacement into your subtext. The subtext is not a document you hand over. It's a lived intelligence, and when you leave, it leaves with you. The replacement is still there, doing their best, using the script, following the structure. But the room keeps behaving strangely, keeps producing outcomes nobody intended, keeps failing in small specific ways that nobody can diagnose because the diagnosis would require admitting that the structure is missing something foundational and that something left when you did. And then the new people started noticing. This is the part nobody planned for. When you erase someone from a story and bring in new people who never knew the original version, you assume those people will simply accept the current draft as the whole story. You assume ignorance of the original is the same as the original not existing. It isn't. New people are often the most dangerous readers of a corrupted story because they have no investment in the revision. They're reading it fresh. They have no reason to protect the gaps. And new people notice gaps. The new person in the role asked a question about how something worked. Not a probing question, an innocent one. Just trying to understand the context for a decision, the history of an approach, the origin of a dynamic they'd inherited without explanation. And nobody could answer. And the room did that thing rooms do when someone asks the forbidden question in innocent packaging. It got very helpful in a way that produced no information. Everyone pitched in, everyone added something, and the new person received a large volume of words that collectively failed to explain the thing they were asking about, because the explanation had you in it. The real explanation, the actual origin, the true account of why the thing worked that way and who built it that way and what they were thinking when they built it, which was you, and what you were responding to, and why it mattered, and how it connected to 6 other things that also needed explaining. The explanation was a chapter they'd removed. And no amount of collaborative word production from the current cast could reconstruct a chapter that only one person had the draft of. The new person went quiet. And then they said, "So nobody knows why we do it this way?" And the room said, "Well, it's just how it evolved." And the new person nodded and filed it and moved on. But the question is still there, in the room, unanswered, growing. Now, I want to say something to the part of you that is reading this, and underneath the recognition, underneath the quiet satisfaction of being seen, is still hurting, because you are. You don't have to pretend you're not. Being erased from a story you built is not a small thing. Being replaced with a story that doesn't mention you is not a small thing. Walking away from something you loved, something you helped create, something that had your fingerprints on every wall, and watching them paint over the fingerprints and tell the new guests, the walls have always been this color. That is a specific grief. It doesn't have a clean name. It's not loss in the traditional sense, because the thing still exists. It just exists as a version that doesn't include you, which is almost worse than if it had ended, because it didn't end. It continued, without you. And you have to live in a world where the story is still being told and you're not in it, and that's a haunting that doesn't resolve the way hauntings are supposed to resolve. But here is what the haunting means. Here is the thing underneath the hurt that the hurt is sitting on top of. You mattered enough to erase. Let me say that again because I need you to hear it. They didn't erase you because you were irrelevant. Irrelevant people don't get erased. Irrelevant people fade. They stop being invited and eventually stop being remembered. And the story closes around their absence, the way water closes around a stone. No trace, no mark, no echo. That's not what happened to you. What happened to you required effort, required coordination, required a decision made by more than one person that you were significant enough to require active removal. You don't plan an erasure for someone who doesn't matter. You plan an erasure for someone whose continued presence in the story is powerful enough to be threatening. You plan an erasure for someone whose name, if it remained in the narrative, would keep raising questions that the narrative can't afford to answer. Your erasure was a compliment disguised as a wound, and I know that's hard to hold. I know the wound is easier to feel than the compliment underneath it, but both are real, and the compliment is this. You were the load-bearing wall. You still are. The building is leaning. They don't know how to fix it because they don't know what they removed, which is the most elegant justice in this whole story. They can't repair the damage because repairing the damage would require acknowledging what caused it. They'd have to say your name. They'd have to say your role. They'd have to say, in front of everyone they've been maintaining the fiction for, that the version they've been telling is incomplete, that the story has an author they didn't credit, that the foundation they're standing on was poured by someone they've been pretending wasn't there. They won't do it, not yet. Maybe not ever. Some buildings lean for a long time before they fall, and some of the people inside them keep telling themselves the lean is architectural, normal, fine.
You're not brave.
A feature, not a fault. But the story knows. Stories always know. Stories have a structural memory that survives the editorial process. You can revise a draft 100 times, and the original draft still exists in the rhythm of the sentences, in the logic of the plot, in the specific weight of a scene that was written for someone who isn't in it anymore and can never quite land right for the person they put there instead. The story knows what it was written around. The story knows who the load-bearing wall was. And every time someone new reads it and something doesn't quite add up, every time someone asks a question the current version can't answer, every time the logic stalls or the motivation rings false or the scene lands wrong, that's the story remembering. That's the original draft insisting on its own existence.
Men are brave.
You are the original draft. They published a revision. The revision is out in the world. It's performing. People are reading it. Some of them don't know there was an original. Some of them sense that something is slightly off but can't locate the source. Some of them, the sharp ones, the ones who pay attention the way you pay attention, will eventually pull the thread that unravels the revision. They'll ask a question the revision can't survive. And the answer to that question will have your name in it. It always does. That's the thing about being load-bearing. You don't stop holding weight when you leave. The weight just becomes visible, because the wall is gone and the ceiling is where the wall used to be. So go live your life now, the full version, the unrevised one, the one that has your name in the chapter headings and your fingerprints on the walls and your subtext running under every conversation, because you built this version with full access to who you actually are. Go write the story they tried to edit you out of. Not the same story, not the sequel, but the original, the real one. The one where the load-bearing wall is also the main character. The one where your presence is not something that has to be managed or minimized or strategically removed. The one where you take up exactly as much space as you were always supposed to take up, which is all of it, which is the whole room, which is the part they knew all along and tried to fix by making you smaller, and discovered too late, that making you smaller didn't make them bigger. It just made the story worse. And the story is worse, and they know it. And somewhere in a room that used to have you in it, the logic keeps failing, and a scene keeps not landing, and someone keeps asking a question that the current version can't answer. And the answer is you. It always was. It always will be.